Hello everyone, how you going? And welcome back to Mildly Interesting, the place that will, I guess, to be exactly as the person said, is for smartly interesting stuff that interests you mildly. It really doesn't get much more complicated than that, but hopefully for some of these posts you're able to go, I guess that is kind of interesting. But anyway, let's jump straight into it. So then starting right off with, games on the thrift store were arranged according to color. Oh, I didn't know if it was going to be kind of board games or kind of video games. I don't know if it was going to be video games. I was going to be very kind of confused about how they did that, because it's either going to be green for Xbox or blue for PlayStation, and then I guess maybe white for the Nintendos and whatnot. But no, board games definitely make sense, and they've done a very, very good job of it. Look, you've even got some kind of oranges in here, some kind of different kind of greens. That one I feel as though should definitely be more closer to the yellow. That's a very light green to be on the dark end of it. But no, that is definitely mildly interesting, the fact that someone has gone to all the effort to actually just do that, It certainly wouldn't have been easy to kind of set up in the first place. I mean, I guess at least once you've actually got it set up, it's pretty easy to kind of know where this one that you've got in your hands needs to go. You just kind of run along next to all the other games and then you go, here we go. When it finally matches up, then you know where it's going. So yeah, it's definitely mildly interesting. And I guess it is kind of more interesting because it is kind of out of a thrift store, or salvos, whatever you want to call it. There is usually no way you're going to be able to get the people that are working there to give any kind of care to what's actually going on in the store. Usually it's just absolutely trash from people just coming in and just taking pieces. So really, maybe that's actually the most mildly interesting about the whole thing, is the fact that it isn't just being destroyed immediately by everyone just coming to the store. I mean, maybe this was before it even opened and there was like 5 minutes to opening, and please just get a photo before it just turns to tatters by the end of the day. But no, it was definitely mildly interesting. It definitely also kind of oddly satisfying at the same time. So I can see what they're going for here. A perfect snowflake I got on my sleeve this morning. Oh my god. And the fact you even noticed it to be able to take a photo of it, I wonder how many kind of perfect snowflakes land on people and they just never even get to realize, it lands on their back or on their hair and then just kind of brush their hair and destroy it or something like that. But the fact that it obviously landed on your sleeve, or I don't even know, that definitely looks like the sleeve of a jumper or something like that. And then you're able to notice that and be able to take a photo. I mean, I wish the focus was a little bit better, you kind of focus on the jumper and on the sleeve. So that's kind of a little bit of a disappointment, I must say, because snowflakes are just so detailed and so delicate. So you could have seen the entire structure of the thing, but no, you've just kind of missed the focus completely. But hey, I guess I am kind of nitpicking. It is definitely still mildly interesting that you even able to kind of get that thing, because you can obviously see kind of the usual snow that is falling, just the kind of globs of ice. And even though kind of just typical snow will look fine when it's falling, it does look very just kind of bland when it's just flat and light upward like that on your jumper. And so really, when you compare something like that to something like this, you go, oh my goodness, what if it just landed on me? It could even kind of be compared to a 4-leaf clover or something like that, but I feel as though this is even more rare because you have to even just notice it, where usually when someone actually gets a 4-leaf clover, they're definitely looking for it, where this one you just have no control over. Once again, kind of like the last post, I feel as though we could just get a whole bunch of kind of cross posting between subreddits and whatnot, and this one could kind of even be on Never Tell Them the Odds or something like that, because really, like I said, I guess I've never lived in a cold country, so maybe this does happen a little bit more than I actually think it does. But really, I can only imagine, considering how high and how upvoted it is on this sub, that it is actually very, very rare to ever get something like that. So come on now, you might as well take full advantage of what you've actually discovered here, You post it to all the subs you can and just get all the karma, It's that easy, really. The dew forming on this trampoline is squared out by the fabric. Wait, what? I don't even understand what is going on here in terms of how that's happening. I get that a trampoline mesh is kind of making up like a basket weave, so to say, but I have absolutely no idea how that would even come about for me, Because even though it might have been considered kind of a bit more fake or whatnot, it's not like they were in a perfect pattern or something like that. They're kind of just completely random, with this area back here seemingly more kind of dense and then more spread out over here, but they just look crazy and they're kind of meniscus on every single one of them is ridiculous. But yeah, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I haven't even heard of anything like it before. So I wonder if it's kind of every morning you wake up to this, or if it has to just be the perfect conditions, whether it be temperature or wind, or I don't even know, humidity, because I can understand how the water is kind of pooling together, but I just don't understand how it's even choosing to kind of be in that particular spot in the beginning, Obviously enough water is kind of collected in that one spot, or I don't even know, I don't get it. How the hell is it decided that this is the one spot that is suddenly just going to grow and accumulate all the water? Because really with dew, the entire surface is just going to be completely saturated, so it's not like it's just going to be like, oh, all the water wants to stay here because that's where it's wet. No, it just wants to go through, surely, but it's obviously not. So yeah, this one's definitely mildly interesting, but it's also mildly confusing at the same time. I just don't understand how it's even working. I mean, I guess maybe I'll check the comments to see if they have anything for me. Texture loading, RTX off, blah, blah. Here we go. No one really actually knew what it was. Everyone was just saying it was a glitch in the Matrix, but this person said, I had a trampoline do the same thing way back when, so naturally I took bits and made a foam wallpaper out of it. Oh my goodness, I actually kind of love this photo even way more than the other one, You can actually see all the kind of little individual drops of water, and then there's one obviously massive kind of just pebble in the middle. But that is just an absolutely incredible photo. Kind of unlike the snowflake, it is perfectly in focus. Like I said, you can see all the little water drops, and that is the most incredible thing to me, just all the texture that is in this photo has just been preserved. And then just how completely glassy this is, it almost looks like a hyper-realistic painting or something like that. When they just get that absolutely perfect kind of sheen, and I don't even know how they do it, but it's just always incredible. But yeah, if we jump between these two, obviously the colors are completely different, but this one just really gives you an amazing perspective of what is actually going on here, and you can see how many times it is happening. You look at it just like, it is completely filled with it. So well, like I said, and I guess everyone else kind of seem to agree with the same thing, we've just never ever seen this before, and the fact that these persons are like, yeah, it used to happen all the time, and I just took this random photo, here you go, it's It's like, oh my goodness, I've never seen such witchcraft. So yeah, even though this post isn't anywhere near the top, I feel as though it's going to be quite hard to beat, to be honest. Swing made from a carbon fiber hydrofoil that was no longer needed. A carbon fiber hydrofoil? Oh, like from a, what is it called? Like a catamaran or something like that. That is incredible. That is certainly a kind of an incredible reuse of something that has been made or whatnot, but I can only imagine it is a very, very expensive swing set if you kind of added up all the prices that is involved there. I mean, even though considering it is carbon fiber, it is going to flex, and so there will be a little bit of flex out of the tippy if you sit on the here, but at least you certainly know that it is not going anywhere. You know, that thing is designed to kind of hold up an entire boat just completely out of the water, so you just know that it's not going anywhere just by you sitting on the end of it, you know. Your puny little 80 kilos or whatever, it's got nothing on the tons and tons of force that it was designed to take in the beginning. But yeah, wow, like I said, that's just an incredible kind of reuse of a product. I have absolutely no idea how you even go about kind of coming across such a thing, you know. Surely they're not just kind of chucking these out every day of the week, so I feel as though you certainly would have had to have some kind of association with whoever was kind of getting rid of the thing to be able to get it, because even though it might not be the latest and greatest, I'm fairly sure someone would have bought it to actually fit on a boat, let alone just putting it on a swing. And also, looking at the picture a bit more, it almost looks as though it's just kind of in a public park or something like that. You know, you got in the background here, you got kind of some open green areas, and then I kind of imagine that someone's just living next to kind of a mangroves and parkland, and then we've got this kind of swing set in the backyard. So it's also kind of incredible to me that whoever decided to install this, whether that be the city, or I guess maybe if it's an individual, but let's just say the city just decided to do that, because that's just crazy. So yeah, it's definitely mildly interesting, but it's also just kind of awesome at the same time that that's even been put into place. You know, if I was still a young kid, or even not, you know, like sure adults could kind of enjoy that thing. It is kind of just a cool swing set, but yeah, I would just be wanting to go to that thing every day. So yeah, props to whoever organized that to be put in place, because that's just cool. There was a small hole in the side of the trailer I was loading today, resulting in the image of the street outside being projected upside down on the opposite wall. Oh, that's so cool how that stuff works. I can't actually really remember the exact physics behind it, but I just think it's that kind of absolutely crazy. If you have just a tiny hole and you just project light through it, it just kind of flips it upside down. In the same way that any lens does, whether that be kind of camera or eye or whatnot, but just with no lens and no glass, just with straight just a hole in the wall. You know, I almost want to flip the image to kind of see what it actually looks like upside down, you know, or I guess the right way around to see what the street looks like. I mean, I guess I'll do it right now so you can see it, but yeah, I would love to be able to see what is kind of going on there. I mean, obviously I can't get the gist of it with this telegraph pole here and then the other telegraph poles and all the road and everything, but I reckon it would kind of be interesting to try and play GeoGuessr or something like that this week. I mean, I guess I'm sure you could do it in Photoshop, so don't actually have to take this photo over and over again, but I feel as though it'd kind of be interesting to see if people could recognize places if it was upside down, you know. I mean, obviously kind of landmarks you're still going to get because you can just recognize the shape or the whatever, but I reckon just kind of doing some city streets will certainly add a twist to the whole challenge. But no, it certainly would be interesting to kind of open up the trailer and just suddenly have this entire projection on the wall. You're going, what the hell is on the wall? And you go, oh my goodness, that is outside. I feel as though at first you'd just be completely confused about the whole situation. You're going, how the hell is this happening? And then you just find the little hole that is coming through and you go, oh my goodness. I mean, perhaps not everyone really knows what is going on here, so then you just be really confused. But if you do know what was going on here, I feel as though you'd still be confused. And then you finally find the hole and you go, oh my goodness, that's what's going on. So yeah, I'm sure you'll kind of be interested in the beginning about what's going on here. But then again, at the same time, it's kind of just ruined every other trailer for you because you're just not going to have that on every single one you load. You know, you're just going to always be wanting to live up to that time where you just have the entire road inside your trailer. So really, I guess from there, it's just all going to be down here for me. You're just always going to be living up to this moment where you were just actually mildly interested by a little hole in the trailer. One of the eggs I poached this morning came out looking like a human heart. Now, I don't know if that is kind of mildly interesting or just a little bit disturbing, you know, because really everyone knows exactly what an egg is, and it's not exactly the most pleasant thing to kind of think about if you kind of think about it in a certain way. And so when you're suddenly just confronted with a human heart as well, it's just like how double comedy going, oh, I don't know if I can eat that. I mean, obviously it tastes fine, so maybe you just have to close your eyes and just go for it. And also just down to the fact that it's been detailed enough to kind of include all the veins and arteries and all the connections around here. You know, you got the perfect kind of rounded shape here, and then it is kind of a little bit rougher over here. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So, you know, it's even pretty much detailed enough to just being able to use it in a prac or something like that, where you're just trying to dissect it and see all the different pieces. And also, I guess kind of what are the chances that I actually pulled it out, that it was actually just facing them in the perfect kind of orientation to notice, you know, because I feel as though if it was the other way around, you just wouldn't have noticed, or even if it was just completely flipped over. I guess actually that would be interesting to see what it actually looks like from the other side. I wonder if it kind of maintains that human heart shape or whatnot, or maybe it's just completely mangled on that side, so you just don't really want to see that. But no, you know, what are the chances they actually just noticed in the first place that it was even in that orientation and just had all those little dangly bits off the side just to make it that little bit extra detail. So hey, you know, maybe this is just going to be the new thing. Obviously people make pancake art and all this other kind of food up, so you know, who knows, maybe the next biggest thing is just going to be poached egg art, you know, and this person is definitely going to be at the forefront on if they're already making hearts. The exterior of the old library inside the new library. I don't really know what to say to this one, because I guess it is just perfectly mildly interesting, you know, it's just kind of like, well, I guess that is what it is. I mean, I guess it is kind of cool that they're able to keep the original one and just expand on the new one. It kind of is a waste of space in a way, but I guess maybe it is actually just a heritage building or something like that, so they just couldn't touch it. Or maybe they just did decide to keep it or something, they just thought it was going to be easier. Or that's just kind of the design they were going for in the first place. I don't really understand why you would do that. I mean, I guess it is cool, but I feel as though it's just a lot of extra effort in the design and structural planning of the whole thing when you're just trying to kind of renovate and just add on to the original structure. You know, obviously that massively expanded. You can see that the staircase here, I wonder if that is actually kind of incorporated into that original building, because it looks as though it kind of cuts huts around the corner here for some reason. Or maybe not. Maybe they're just completely built an entire massive new structure on top of this old thing. Oh, hey, you know, obviously I don't know exactly when it's been built, but it's obviously an old building, and you can see just how solid this kind of floor and this base and these walls are, you know. So maybe they just kind of use the old building the same way that new buildings use the central lift columns as a major structural support, you know. So as I said, this entire base is just absolutely solid rock and concrete, and these walls are probably like triple brick or something ridiculous, so it's certainly not going to go anywhere. And so, hey, I guess they would have had to be tethered together somehow, you know. You just kind of have a gap when you're trying to make it one building, so maybe it is that, as well as you're kind of wanting to keep the heritage and everything around it. And I mean, really, all in all, it's just nice that it's even been considered in the entire fact, you know. So many of these buildings are just kind of need a renovation. They're just not able to kind of keep up with the modern times, and so they really do need to be replaced or something like that. But like I said, there's just so much heritage, and so you just can't get rid of it, and so you're just kind of left in a dilemma there. So I guess in that case, it is kind of the best of both worlds, isn't it? You kind of get the new building, you kind of have all the fancy stuff, but then at the same time, you're just able to keep the old building and all its heritage. But yeah, I guess you could kind of say that it's mildly interesting, or just nice that it's been considered in the build process. At 45 years old, I finally learned how to ollie. Oh, come on now, even though I know that it's not what this sub is, I wish we had a video for this, because that would have been so much cooler, kind of see you kind of perfect the trick or whatever. Or I guess not even just perfect the trick, but just be able to do the trick, you know. Like you said, 45, you can't teach an old dog new tricks or anything like that, but you're just proving it all wrong. I guess I do wonder in that regard if you had any kind of previous skateboarding experience, or if you're just kind of starting from scratch and you've learned up to do the ollie. Because, you know, I can only imagine if you skated when you were younger, even if you weren't very good and you skated when you were really little, like 6 to 10 or something like that, I can only imagine that some of the kind of core basic skills that you would have learned back then when you were really little would definitely have stayed with you your entire life up until even now when you try to learn a trick at 45. So yeah, I guess I'm a little bit curious about that, but yeah, there's no disputing that if you actually did learn that trick at 45, then it certainly is an impressive feat, given, you know, like flexibility and strength and everything is certainly not at your peak anymore. But hey, you know, you can clearly see that that is some serious kind of air that front wheel is getting. You certainly aren't mucking around and kind of cheating the trick, so to say. And so yeah, really learning anything like this, whether that be a language or a trick or I don't even know, but anything like that just to keep you kind of occupied and just kind of busy at all times is always a good thing. I guess maybe actually learning this trick would have been the thing that kind of kept you sane and kept you busy during the lockdown period and whatnot. And I guess the good thing with skateboarding is just how accessible it is. You know, you clearly have just a flat driveway and that's all you really need. I guess a half pipe if you want to go really extreme. But really, however far down the line this whole thing is kind of over, you know, you're just going to be an absolute master and have so many tricks under your belt. It's just going to be incredible. It's going to be Tony Hawk 2.0 basically. So yeah, I almost don't find this mildly interesting at all. I just find it kind of cool that this person is obviously just committed themselves to learning a cool trick when they kind of can. And you know, obviously everyone always just kind of writes themselves off because they're too old or too this or too that. Whereas this guy's just going, stuffy, you know, I'm just going to give it a go. And then, you know, obviously you just learned it. So yeah, good on him. And so now finally for the top of the month for mildly interesting, we have, I got a warning for leaving my laptop unattended at the library. State Library of Queensland. Oh my goodness, this is in Queensland? What the hell? I didn't know they cared about anything at all, let alone just someone's laptop. But here we go. If you had time to leave this card, a thief had time to remove your belongings. Keep your bag and personal effects with you at all times. God, I guess that is a little bit of a wake-up call. I guess wherever you just went, whether that be the toilet or get a bookie, I guess because you are in a library, I guess they're just kind of reminding you that, hey, this is an unattended laptop. Things do get stolen, you know. Not everyone in this world is just kind of a kind soul. The people do still take stuff, sadly. So I wonder how many of these cards they just go around giving out every day. It's just people just abandon their laptop for 5-10 minutes, whatever. They go, look, come on now. We've got no time to be dealing with stolen laptops, and I'm sure you have no time and kind of want for your laptop to be stolen, so surely you can just kind of keep a little bit more eye on it. So yeah, I guess in that regard, good on me. You know, people do just need that reminder every now and again and go, oh yeah, that is right. You know, I probably shouldn't be doing that. You know, even though I do it a whole bunch and I leave it out all the time and nothing's ever happened, maybe just one time something will happen and someone just will walk past and just swipe it, so I probably should take that into consideration. So yeah, I guess all in all, just good on the State Library of Queensland. You know, even though this is the top post of the month and I'm not 100% sure if I kind of agree with that kind of outcome or whatnot, but I guess at least I can certainly agree that it is mildly interesting and it would certainly just come out of the blue, you know. Like I said, I've never heard of anyone else or anywhere else kind of doing this kind of sim, so yeah, it is mildly interesting, isn't it? But anyway, that is going to do it for the top of the month for mildly interesting, so thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to do the YouTube and little things down below and let me know, you know, what's going on. Other than that, you know, we see awesome posts all over Reddit, so make sure you check some of the other videos out now, or maybe you just even want to consider subscribing so don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.